Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Fallout. This episode is about Monday Night Football, the Cleveland Browns versus the San Francisco 49ers. Did everything go as according to our projections and our predictions? You'll have to find out on this episode of the Fantasy Football Fallout. Hey everybody, okay, so let's start with the Browns. Actually, you know what? Let's start higher level. Did things go as we predicted? Actually, they did. We hit on our analytics. We hit pretty hard on this one, which is nice. I did think that, though, I will say there were two key misses in this game, just again, top level here. I thought Odell Beckham would get in the end zone. He did not. In fact, only 2 receptions and 27 yards for Beckham. That's not going to get it done, obviously. That's not why people drafted him as early as they did. And then on the San Francisco side, I thought that Coleman would get in the end zone. I thought he would have the bigger day, not Breida, as a runner. He did out-touch Breida in the running game. Let me look at his passing. Yeah, he wasn't involved at all in the passing game, and so that's why Breida had 3 receptions, added a touchdown. He had another touchdown in the run game. So Breida outproduced Coleman. I thought both would be starts. I thought Coleman would get more touchdowns. And we accurately predicted that Kittle would be in the end zone. But let's move it back to Cleveland and let's talk about this team. If you recall, we had a lot of hits on this video, on this preview video, which was nice. Thanks to everybody who watched that video. But you'll probably recall me saying that I liked San Francisco. I liked their defensive line. I thought that from a matchup point of view, San Francisco's run game would get going, and their pass rush and their defensive line play, their strong defensive line play, was going to give Cleveland fits. I thought, and I successfully predicted, that Freddie Kitchens as a play caller would ditch Nick Chubb early in the game plan. And I know that San Francisco went up pretty early in this game, so of course you don't run it. But let me read you Nick Chubb's stats: 16 carries, 87 yards, and that included a 37-yard run, 5.4 yards per carry. If you take that 37-yarder out there, he was 15 for 50. But again, Nick Chubb gives you explosive plays. He does it every freaking week. You got to give him the ball more. Now, if you're going to move away from the run because you're losing, that's fine. But let me read you his pass receiving stats here. Nick Chubb, 1 target, 1 catch, 12 yards. What are you doing, Kitchens? What are you doing? I'm sorry, Cleveland fans, a lot of hype coming into the season. My big question was, is Freddie Kitchens, is he like Jimmy Johnson coming into the Cowboys and taking over that team? Or is he going to be like Norv Turner of the late 90s Redskins, where they had a lot of talent and he couldn't get it going? I thought that it was more Norv Turner than it was Jimmy Johnson, and I think I'm right. Every week I see him play calling, I got to say I'm not impressed at all. The key to success for this team is to put Baker Mayfield in good situations. Baker Mayfield, 8 completions, 22 attempts, 100 yards, and 2 interceptions. Let me read Landry here. 4 receptions on 6 targets. Beckham, 2 receptions on 6 targets. That is just not going to get it done. Look, I said it every week. I don't have any shade towards Baker Mayfield, who I like. But when you have a weapon like Nick Chubb, and you can watch my reaction video from last week and after the Baltimore game, Nick Chubb, when he gets carries, he has such explosive potential that he will take one to the house, like once every so often. 37-yard carry, right? So I don't understand why Kitchens does not involve Chubb more. If you can't get the run game going, and 5.4 yards per carry is getting the run game going, but again, I know that Cleveland was down a lot. If you can't get the run game going, involve him more in the passing game. Get him out in space. I can't understand it. How is this not painfully obvious to everybody watching the games? Browns fans, I know you have to agree with me. Look, you have Beckham, you have Landry, that's great. Get Chubb involved more. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then once Chubb is involved more, once you establish that run game, the linebackers have to start crowding the line of scrimmage. The safeties have to cheat up. And then Beckham and Landry get more one-on-one favorable matchups. I'm sorry, Cleveland. Freddie Kitchens, you got to go. They got to have somebody else calling the plays. I think, Cleveland, you probably agree with me by now. I know the season's not over by any stretch, and this team's talented. And yes, I think this team will reel off some wins later in the season. That Baltimore win was great. San Francisco, frankly, I saw this one coming. From a matchup point of view, you got to neutralize that pass rush with a strong run game. And I knew that, or I didn't know, but I had a feeling that Kitchens, didn't have the testicular fortitude to keep with the run even when things were getting bad, and I ended up being right there. On the San Francisco side, I talked about it briefly, but Breida had a great game. 11 carries, 114 yards, another 10-yard per carry day. You might want to give that guy the ball, right? 10 yards per carry, I think that's 2 weeks in a row. Crazy, 114 yards, a touchdown, added 3 catches, 15 yards, and a touchdown in the passing game. I knew George Kittle would go off. 6 receptions, 8 targets, 70 yards and a touchdown. We predicted in our touchdown predictor episode, we predicted successfully that Kittle win in. We had a good week on the touchdown predictions. Our analytics are kind of up and running now. They get better every week, so check that episode out. That comes out later in the week, the touchdown predictor, probably Wednesday or Thursday. Deebo Samuel, I thought he would get in the end zone, though. That was kind of a bold prediction. I thought, regardless if he got in the end zone, I thought he was going to have a bigger day, like an 80 to 100-yard day receiving. Only 1 catch on 3 yards. I still like him, though. I still think he's the receiver that I would prefer to own on my fantasy team. Goodwin put up 3 catches and 41 yards. Garoppolo, 20 of 29, 181 and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Look, man, when San Francisco averages, I'm looking at it now, 6.9 yards per carry, and that includes Garoppolo's negative 3 yards on 4 attempts. I'm looking at Kittle, 1 attempt, 18 yards. Goodwin, 1 attempt, 15 yards. Mostert, who I love, 7 attempts, 34 yards. Coleman, 16 attempts, 97 yards for 6.1 yards per carry. San Francisco does this every week. Kyle Shanahan is great coming out of halftime, dialing things up and adjusting. In Cleveland, I'm sorry, just got out-coached. You got outplayed. That strong defensive line, you got to neutralize them with the run. That's why I think Seattle would be a really tough matchup for San Francisco, because even if San Francisco's strong defensive line stops their run game early, and even if they go up, Schottenheimer there, who's calling plays in Seattle, will stick with the run. I'm a little bit concerned, although I do think L.A. Has a chance to pull off a game. I don't think L.A. is going to lose 3 games in a row. I just can't see it happening, but I'll dig into more of that later. But LA is the type of team, if they can stick with Gurley, big if here this season, big if. If they can stick with Gurley, it'll give San Francisco some trouble. You know, these teams that will stick to the run, I think Green Bay this season will give San Francisco trouble because you got to tire that defensive line out. I think those same teams would give New Orleans trouble. But this NFC this year, it's so interesting. I think it's all matchup based. I think, Seattle would give Green Bay fits. I think Green Bay would give San Francisco fits. I think, New Orleans might give Seattle fits. And it's just this, to me, as we progress in the season, I think it's going to be more about what teams play each other in the playoffs than it is about seeding and home field advantage this year. Very interesting season. I'm loving it so far. But that for this episode, I think, takes us through. I don't see a lot in terms of waiver wire acquisitions here. I don't like anybody. Callaway's back, but I don't love him in this offense. Chubb is it for me. I still think you got to try to trade for him, but I'm just worried about him. He's going to be up and down, and he's really the type of running back that will have his bigger games when they're playing from ahead. They should call the game like the Rams from 2 years ago and last year, where they run everything through Chubb and then let Baker Mayfield pick people apart in single coverage with Odell, Beckham, and Jarvis Landry. But, what do I know? I'm just a guy on YouTube, but come on. Come on, it's obvious. San Francisco, I like everything. I still am waiting anxiously for Jalen Hurd to come out. But, this team, with as good as they are running the ball, they're just not having to pass. So invest, I keep Breida if you have him on your team. Keep Coleman. I actually like Mostert week to week. Then you got, what do you got? You got Kittle, obviously, you're going to keep him. And then I think the receivers are just going to go up as well as the run game. So if a team can stop the run, maybe if San Francisco, if they go up against New Orleans and the run's a little tougher, if they go up against a team like Philadelphia and the run defense is a little tougher, that's when the receivers start to coalesce there and have a nice game. So check back with the analytics. We do the game previews, as a lot of you out there know, and we'll keep predicting things. And if you like this channel, please help us grow. All you have to do is subscribe and watch some videos. It's free. It's easy to do. The more videos you watch, the closer we'll get to our YouTube partnership. And once we do that, we can actually make these videos a little bit more interactive, which we're really excited to do. But we can't do that until we become a partner. So please support us by subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing as well, and then also watching some videos. So there you go. There's another episode. Catch you on the next one.